Good afternoon, everybody. We're here for our weekly Q&A with the St. Louis Arc Family Support Team. And this week, Thursday, is National Intern Day. So we thought it would be fun to share with you what it's like to be an intern at the St. Louis Arc, what you can expect, all the different kinds of programs you can be in, and get your internship supports through us. And we've got a great panel today. So let's start with some introductions. And Megan, I think I'm going to start with you. So I always like people to talk a little bit about who they are and what role they hold at the ARC. And if you've got other experiences of the ARC that you want to share with us, those are always welcome.
Hey, everybody. My name is Megan Eder, and I'm the volunteer manager with St. Louis ARC. So I also coordinate our internship and practicum planning and coordinating as well. So just talking with inquiries of students who are interested in internships with the ARC, partnering with schools for specific educations, just different programs within their schools and how that can pair with the services provided at the ARC. I've been in this role for a little over 6 years now, and was previously in employment services. So I've had a lot of different roles with the ARC. So
Drew, why don't we go to you next?
Hello, my name's Drew Holman. I was an intern at the St. Louis ARC. I was in the UMSL degree program, Bachelor's of Educational Studies with a focus on youth and adult development. So part of that required me to have an internship for 3 semesters, and I did that, and I chose to do it at the St. Louis ARC. Mm-hmm. And now I am a transition advisor for the launch program at the St. Louis ARC. So that's something I'm really excited about, to be a part of that team.
All right, Leanna, last but not least.
Yeah, I'm Leanna. I was an MSW student and master's in social work student and needed to do an internship. So I wanted to go to the ARC. I had heard lots about it. So I was at the ARC for about 2 semesters in family supports. And then I ended up working in the Capable Kids and Families program for a couple of years. And now I'm a family navigator at the St. Louis ARC.
Mm-hmm. And Leanna fulfills some of her duties as a counselor for us. So that's a little side gig we worked out. So it's important that Leanna have as many jobs as possible. Mm-hmm. So when I thought about this presentation today, I think it's really important that we kind of set the scene and talk about what type of internships are people doing here? How do they contact you? What are some of the expectations we have for an internship? So Megan, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, of course, there's, always the website, which will tell you how to get a hold of us. But a lot of where the ARC is within just how, we're well known across St. Louis, all the partnerships we have at schools, conversations that you have with professors. We seem to be on a lot of lists everywhere. And so just emailing somebody that you might know, it will circle back to the volunteer page, which comes to me, or it could be, somebody who, has a personal experience or a direction. There's not one specific place where people have to go, basically, but there is a process that's, organized in how students do come in and just what we look at. And that is just what the interests are, what are your future ideas for careers? What is it that you are learning right now that really speaks to you and is, comparing that with what the ARC services are? How much do you know about the organization? What drives you? What is your path? And I always tell students, you don't have to have an exact answer. That's why you're interning and you're still in that phase. But we do like when there's a enthusiasm in the response, and it's that students have done a little bit of their research. There are a lot of programs that students have been a part of the ARC. Family Supports has hosted a variety of just different educational backgrounds, but also what those roles look like. Family Services, education, early childhood development, psychology, social work. I feel like I'm missing quite a few. We've hosted students within like our transition age as well. So like, planning for after school and aging and what's coming next for me, and developing a lot of those programs for that age group, and doing a lot of one-on-one supports, but also program development, and a rec therapy students who work with our leisure department, who get to do, all kinds of fun things for the programs of just, helping to develop what those are and how they run, and communicating with families, and just being a part of the sports teams, the instructional classes, just from start to finish of how those programs are promoted and how it all runs together. To students who have also, some of the backgrounds within Family Supports have also been a part of day programs as well. So being a part of the Aging with Empowerment program and community engagement, which also sees a lot of that day-to-day planning and activities, and working directly with individuals and helping the coordinators with, running different classes, or maybe running, different one-on-one groups. We've had students within quality department who've helped out with, a lot of the backside of things too. We've hosted dietitians recently as well within the nutrition center. So that's been new. Our nursing team has hosted first-year students for their observations. So quite a variety of backgrounds that students have been a part of. And so, once there's that first conversation and there's the review with the program of, the student's interests, and, the student's placement, once there's been an interview, then, the student gets to be part of the team, and it's exactly what the team does day to day: team meetings, agency meetings, funder meetings, just really being a part of the team, and just seeing all the day to day, but also getting projects, independent projects to work on. Sometimes it's a pre-planned project, and sometimes it could be, hey, we've got this that just came up. Let's go do this, because that's how the agency is. Not everything is always planned like it's going to be on the schedule. So flexibility is really great quality to have, working independently, but also students get to work together and do, projects as well. And students, get to see a lot. That's not the same thing every day, all day. There's other coordinators that students get to work with. Sometimes students do a part-time in this program and a part-time in another program, just to see as much as they can while they're with the ARC.
Yeah, one of the things that I really think you did a great job of kind of emphasizing is that we are such a big agency. There's so many different ways you can try out things to see if that's going to be something that you get excited about. And I think there have been many times that we've had students come in who really anticipated that they were going to leave and work with a different population or do something else, but then they've become really passionate about the work we do with people with disabilities, and say, you know what, this is really what I want to do. I just didn't have any idea, because so often we're the first exposure people have. So
I just know of some coordinators and directors who said, to students, you might not think of this organization or this type of service as a job or a career that you can have in your field. And so that opens a lot of eyes to, what other opportunities there are for what you're learning and how you can compare that. And so that's been another another real meaningful part too of showing students, what they can do.
So Drew, it's so nice to see you. First, will you tell everybody a little bit about what is a Bachelor of Educational Studies? Because that's a degree that wasn't around when I was in school.
Of course. So the BES program is program where you can teach, like it's basically like with the Bachelor's of Education, it's kind of like teaching, but not necessarily in a school setting. So, for example, there's parks and museums as an emphasis. You could be a tour guide. There's youth and adult development. There are a couple others as well. Basically, it allows you to be more creative, I guess, with where you teach and who you serve, basically.
Yeah. So let's talk about your internship process here. We knew each other before you came aboard as an intern, but when you came to do your internship, did you have to apply through the website to Megan? How did you get included?
Yes. So I met J.R. Johnson in transitions, and I was like, hey, I didn't say it exactly like this, but I was thinking, for my degree program, I've got a internship that I need to secure before, so that way I can graduate. I was wondering if there's anything I could do at the St. Louis Arc, and he got me in contact with Megan Eder, and then I interviewed for that, and I was able to work as an intern in family supports.
Great. So tell us a little bit about some of the activities that you were able to participate in.
Yes. So in family supports, I would some of the cool things was Disability Rights Legislative Day. That was really fun to help out and be a part of. Also, like when I went down to the Capitol with a group, it was eye-opening because I got to see everyone was there, and we all got to hear from like the politicians in the Capitol. We got to hear other voices as well in the disability community, and it was just amazing. So that was really cool.
One of the things you and I did was do some teaching in our day program about rights and how to plan for your annual meeting. I thought that was really fun when we did that.
Yeah, and charting the life course tools was something that was really cool because I still use a couple of them. So that was really cool. And another thing was at the History Museum in City Park, I believe. We did the Disability Rights March. That was a good part. That was a good day too.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of advocacy work while you were in our department. I think you did some support with people on the self-advocate meeting Zooms as well.
Yeah.
One of the things I thought you were really great about was helping people that aren't super comfortable on Zoom use the chat bar to engage in conversations. So that was one of the things I learned a lot about when you were interning with us. And I think that's one of the benefits of having interns is they've got new ideas. They learn with new tools and they bring those to you. And then I would love it if you just briefly talk about your final project that you did with Launch, because it was very exciting.
Yes. So for my final project, for my internship, at the end of each internship semester, I'd have to do a special project. My final special project, I created a advocacy and problem solving role play game for Launch and XDED, and I also did it with the Self Advocates group too. So first it was an in-person session for transitions, and I created the characters, I created the story, and what I wanted to do was so instead of having like combats and conflict that way, I made different scenarios in which the players would have to work together to know what would be the correct, or not the correct, but like the best outcome, to get the best outcome. So for example, they all knew they all knew their own characters, but they didn't know each other's characters. So that would require the players to advocate for themselves and say, hey, I think I have the tool that we need to get past this obstacle. And if I were to do it again, I would really want to create more like conflict between the players, like give more than one tool that would be a correct tool, like so
Oh.
that way they'd have to decide between themselves which one would give them the best outcome.
Yeah, I think for me, that was one of the things that I really saw you grow in as an intern was your ability to try out an activity, think about what worked really well and what you'd change, and then go back and adapt it. And I think anytime you're teaching, that's pretty much going to happen every day, because so many people learn in so many different ways. And what sounds perfect always needs some kind of adjustment. So very cool. So our question that we had was, what does the interview look like from the student perspective? So when you came in to talk to Megan, did you feel like, was it scary? Was it comfortable? Did she ask you things that you felt comfortable with? Was it difficult?
I don't think it was difficult at all. The only thing that I would say would be difficult was I guess, and this is just for meeting people in general, it's like you're a little anxious whenever you're doing an interview. So it's not
Sure.
just a me thing. But I think like most of the nerves, once I got past most of the pre-jitters and nerves, um it it wasn't difficult at all. It was actually quite enjoyable because I got to know Megan. So she kind of went over what would an intern be like, what would it be like to be an intern? And I found the whole interview process to be very informative.
Nice. The other half of the question is whether you had to do a final presentation to complete your internship. And I know the answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
What were some of the things? I think most of the things you talked about today were parts of your final presentation.
So my final presentation, I did a PowerPoint. I put pictures that I've taken throughout the semester of me at my job site, and I even try to spice it up, make it look like really cool and stuff, add more cool things. Like for example, I know one of my coworkers, Amy, she would bring her dog Diesel in, and so I'd add a couple pictures like of office dogs, and so I make it really fun, and because I really want to convey how much fun I had at my internship site. So
All right. Thank you, Drew. Leanna, I hate to make you wait so long, but let's talk a little bit about your role, because you've got a unique role in this trio here. You supervise practicum students. Can you talk about what that looks like?
So I'm a field instructor, so usually that means going over code of ethics with our Masters of Social Work students and making sure they're meeting all that criteria within their practicum. And then I have also been a task supervisor, so really kind of bring the practicum student with me everywhere I go, even if they like it or not. Usually they like it. I know I enjoyed it whenever I was a practicum student. So we usually end up going to navigator meetings, or if it's okay with the family members, of course, they can sit in on those meetings. And then they'll go to, we have a collaborative meeting with all the navigators at St. Louis area disability services. So they get to go to those meetings and see what resources are in the area, and also get more versed in services and also supports that families can be eligible for. They've also been able to attend counseling sessions with me, which has been really nice, and do research studies on day programs. So you really can make your practicum what you want it to be. I usually end up telling students that whenever they come in, because the ARC has so many wide varieties of options that you can go to. So really, if you want to explore all different areas, you're able to do that. There's somebody there to help you out. you make your practicum what you get out of your practicum what you put into it. So I really try to get students not to just stay in one area. If I'm their task supervisor and family supports, I really encourage them to try to go to somewhere like launch or a day program or leisure stuff, activities, because that way they can see who we're supporting and it's not just through a computer. And also see the day-to-day of supports in the houses, or if somebody goes to an employment specialist job to see what's going on with them, or meets with the director there. So I know for my practicum, one of my tasks was to meet with every single director and see what their programs were, which was a little intimidating, but it really helped me learn about all the services at the ARC, which was really nice because the ARC is very big. So part of that is just really helping students kind of get experience, which I was really appreciative of, because I know I didn't have a lot of experience coming in. So being able to have somebody supervise me while getting experience was really helpful. So I try to do the same.
Yeah. So Leanne, I've never asked you this before, but do you think that your internship impacted the trajectory of your career? When you came here, were you pretty much planning to go the route you went, or did it make a shift?
Basically, when I interviewed for the practicum, I knew I wanted to work at the ARC. The last couple months, I was like, okay, if I don't get a job, I'm literally going to stand at the front desk and hand out my resume to any staff who comes up here. Thankfully, that did not have to happen. I made myself stay here, but yeah, I definitely think the culture and just learning about the values that the ARC has really influenced me wanting to stay. And I wanted to get a practicum because I knew I wanted to work there.
So you would have just done any job at the ARC. That's good to know.
Probably.
Before we leave you, I was thinking about the two students that you supervised last semester. How did they pick their projects, the things that they invested most of their time in? Was that something that you guys went back and forth on, or did they come in with really strong ideas, or?
Yeah, a lot of them are really flexible, which was nice. And I think starting of, hey, do you want to just follow me to these meetings? If there's something that shows up on somebody else's calendar, I usually pull up other people's calendars to see what's going on, to see other areas that they can experience. And that kind of helps them know, like, oh, this area is really cool. If somebody has attended Self Advocates and they realize, like, hey, I really like this advocacy stuff, this is really nice, then they might do more activities with advocacy. I had one student who liked to attend counseling sessions with me and really wanted to go that route after they finished their practicum. So really getting that experience. Some students really do have an idea of what they want to do, but I do think giving the opportunity of attending different meetings kind of opens up the door to what they might want to do.
Yeah, even if it's nothing more than clarification, I think that's what a practicum is for, is that having the internship time to really embed yourself and learn all the nuances about what that type of work is like.
Ask all the questions.
Yeah, I always have students say, I'm sorry I'm asking so many questions. Like, no, that's what you're here for. You absolutely should be asking questions. So we welcome that.
And this is a good time to say kind of how the timeline does operate and just what to be mindful of. And that is because of capacity and supervision. And we always want to make sure that the department has enough time to prepare and to plan, and there is supervision for the students. So end of June is always a good time to start reaching out for the fall. That's a lot of time to start having those conversations and planning and phone screening and interviewing. But
and
yeah,
then what if I want to like plan towards the spring?
so towards the spring, it's kind of always like in the middle of that of the season before. So, October is a good time to plan and that's at least for the ARC. I know there's schools that have some different requirements for timelines and when to have placement, but that's one of the first questions I ask is, when do you have to have this, placed by? I know some people reach out really early and that's great. And I always say, hey, reach out to me during this time if you're still interested. And when you do, I know that you're really interested. So that's just kind of a little bit about how to reach out and when.
Yeah, I'm gonna hog a little couple minutes of time here just to talk about why I think it's so important for the ARC to have internships. And then when I'm done, each of you can have a chance to just comment on something somebody else said, or if there's some other thing you want to share with our audience, that would be great. But I think it's really key for everybody to know that this is a reciprocal kind of a relationship, because as we said earlier, a lot of times people are not getting experiences with people with disabilities. They don't understand that's a population that they could plan to have a career working with people and supporting people with disabilities. So for me, I think it's such a great opportunity for us to let people know, even if they end up in other businesses, they're going to have some experience on how to be welcoming to people with disabilities when they come into their counseling business, when they come into their school site, whatever it might be, when they come into their parks and recreation programs where they're leading classes. So I think it's really, really beneficial for us to make sure that we are extending that opportunity to students so that they can get to know some pretty cool people and know what great work this is. And then, as you can tell from our many Q&As, we love to hire our interns. There is no better job interview than an internship, because we get to know you really well. We can see where your strengths are and really encourage you to build those and to get out and find out about opportunities that are available at the ARC. So there's a lot of reasons that the ARC supports interns that are beneficial for us, and the interns have a very good experience. And I don't know, Megan, if you track kind of what the intern experience is like, do they say that they feel satisfied with the internship, or am I just making up things that don't happen?
No, I think that's a big discussion when they're ending with their supervisors or their direct task supervisors. And then we see that in the end, we kind of do a fun little presentation for students to share about what they've learned. It's kind of their time to just talk about what they've been a part of for everybody to, in the agency to hear and to see. But yeah, no, you're right. We've got a lot of people who were once an intern, and it opens a lot of doors to just all kinds of roles and positions that, have opportunity for growth. So
our CEO was once an intern here, so there's opportunities to go as high as you want to go. So that's the important thing.
Right.
Well, Drew, have you thought of anything else you'd like to add today?
I just want to say that it was really cool being a part of like seeing all the different departments like as an intern. That was really cool, because not only did I help out with transitions, I was helped out with employment a little bit, with skills to pay the bills and advocacy meetings, and it was just a really awesome experience. And I'm glad I was able to be a part of that, and now I'm hired, so I'm going to continue.
I will just say on your behalf, you and I did some community presentations, and that was such an area of growth for you, your confidence in being able to do presentations. And those are like interviews. They're really hard for almost everybody to feel comfortable in that space.
Yeah, prior to this internship, I would have a hard time getting in front of a class. It was weird because like I could go up, but I can't go into a group of 20 people, and my nerves, I'd break down. But now I'm like I'm doing interviews, I'm leading classes, I'm reading group sessions, and so my confidence has gone a lot higher than what it used to be. So
well, and well deserved too, because you did a great job. Leanna, anything you want to add?
Yeah, anyone looking for an internship, it's a the ARC is a really wonderful place to get lots of experience and also feel safe with supervision, and also a place that you can grow. So you can ask lots of questions and then you have somebody there to support you. So if you want a practicum, come to the ARC.
All right, she's done your commercial, Megan. Anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. Just, reach out with questions. We'll be happy to start the chatting process with you. So thank you, Drew and Leanna.
Well, thanks to all three of you for being with us today. Go and celebrate an intern this week because they're working hard and most of the time they're not getting paid, but hopefully it's going to pay off in the end. And come back and see us at the next Q&A. I hope you have a great week and stay cool, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Leanna, Drew, and Megan.